John Fredericks Radio Network and the John Fredericks Radio app, and thanks for being with us today. I am your Godzilla of the truth in America, your oracle of the deplorables, and we're trucking the truth every day. The truth, my friends, will set you free. We're battling the fake news. We've been in Georgia for 3 weeks. We got 2 more ahead of us on our 10-day in 10-city road tour today. Dalton, Georgia, that's North Georgia. For those not familiar with the terrain, what are we guys, about 50 minutes south of Chattanooga, somewhere in there? Half hour?
Yeah, more like 25 minutes. Yeah,
25 minutes south of Chattanooga. We're in North Georgia. I was in Dahlonega yesterday. Wednesday, I'll be in Cartersville. On our power roundtable here, our power panel, we have State Senator, all Republicans, Chuck Payne. Chuck, welcome.
It's good to be here.
And we also have State Representatives Casey Carpenter and Jason Ridley. Without further ado, guys, we're going to go right to the phone lines, and we're going to start with line 1. Jeff in Warner Robins, Georgia. Line 1. Jeff, you're live.
Hi, John, and thanks for taking my call. I'm a retired Master Sergeant in the United States Air Force, a Georgia resident, and born in Georgia. And I don't know if I'm more angry or more embarrassed by the panel that you have there. Where is the fire in these guys? Where is their sense of duty? Did they watch the Arizona citizens that stood up and seem to have more passion than these guys do? It's embarrassing, and I'm so angry and I'm embarrassed. And I hope that the citizens across this country don't think that most citizens in Georgia feel the way that these guys do. You need to get a fire in your belly. You need to remember you took an oath to our Constitution and stand up and fight for this president. This is the time of our life. It's your time.
I'm going to give you guys a chance to respond. You're not exactly getting the love of representatives. Let's start with Jason Ridley.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I've fought. I've been fighting. I've been answering about 70 phone calls a day from my local constituents, trying to explain exactly what we can actually do. Like I've said, before on here, I'm pissed as everybody else is. I feel like everybody's abandoned our president. I feel like that, even though we do got these 2 Senate races that are important, I feel like that we've kind of turned our cold shoulder to him a little bit to concentrate on these. And I know that those are important, but I understand that the whole purpose of voting is what this nation was built on. And if we can't elect a president, I understand people's frustrations about how's this Senate race going to turn out. And like I said, we can have all the meetings we want to. We can let the public come out. But if I can't get anybody there to put it under oath, if I can't get Stacey Abrams there, if I can't get some of the people from Dominion there and really ask the hard questions, well, what answers am I going to get besides what I already know, that we're all mad about this election and mad about what's going on?
All right, I'll give you a chance to respond to that in Warner Robins. Jeff, go ahead.
I don't see it. You say that you're angry, sir. I have contacted my representatives, and I don't think it's just these 3 gentlemen. I think that's what's happened to Georgia. It's unlike anything that I've ever seen. I'm 58 years old. It's so widespread. It's so disheartening. I've contacted my reps 3 times each through email, which is on my Georgia voter page, where it's easy access, and I would encourage all Georgians to do the same. But they will not respond. I have called them. I have called the Secretary of State's office. No reply. I've emailed the Secretary of State's office. I've called the governor's office. You get incompetence even when they take the phone call. You just have no idea of the angry feelings that I have and the anger that is live throughout the state of Georgia, outside of these representatives. And that's why I'm so shocked and I'm so angry. It's because I don't hear it. I don't see it. We have outside.
You don't feel it, Jeff. Jeff, you don't feel it. This is what I've been saying. This is what I've been saying here. I've been here now 3 weeks. This is consistent with every call I'm getting that there's no feel. I mean, that's basically it. It's like I had Senator Steve Gooch on yesterday, really good conservative from Dahlonega. And he's like, well, we'll figure it out in January 10th special session. And Beach is like, screw that. The guy Beach from, where is he? Cherokee?
No, Gwinnett. He's got a little bit of Cherokee.
No,
mostly
Cherokee.
Gwinnett, though.
I call him beach balls. I mean, the guy's a moderate Republican, and he's like fighting everybody, and he can't get anybody to stand with him. He's demanding that the governor call him. This guy call him. That guy call him. All right, Jeff. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Let's go to line 2, Nancy in Atlanta. Nancy, you're live.
Thank you. I have a question and a comment. I feel like a lot of the other Georgia Republicans, I'm embarrassed to be a Georgia Republican, and I wish these guys would grow a set. They say they can't do something, what they can't do, wah. Take action. Tell us what you can do. You could have a hearing. The press would be there. We, the people, will be there. We will protest. Maybe we need to be in Athens at your caucus and protest there. Start telling us about what you can do and not about what you can't do and all this waiting around. It's just not acceptable. We, the people, will not take it. We will primary you. We will remember this. I'm waiting for your response and look forward to it.
All right, Nancy from Atlanta, line 1. Thank you. Let's go to Senator Chuck Payne for that. Beach and others have called for a hearing on these allegations of fraud. Senator Payne, what say you?
I would have no objection to having hearings, but also the first caller that called in, he neglected to say something that stuck out my mind, that we also swear an oath to uphold the state constitution. Mm-hmm. And so after the election, that's why I think a lot of people, the disconnect is, and I think most of the lawmakers feel this way, is we've gone from the political climate of an election to now becoming law enforcement officers. And so just like any good detective will tell you, when you're in the process of processing information and facts and evidence, that's not when you go public and run a public campaign. And so I think that's why a lot of people feel the disconnect, because we're now into that law enforcement mode, making sure that not only the U.S. Constitution is upheld, but the state constitution as well.
Well, what do you think about the fact that that your party, led by David Schaefer, who, by the way, has been a fighter in this the whole way? I just want to tell everybody this is not the party. It's not Schaefer. It's not Ginger Howard. They've been fighting. But the party has demanded that Raffensperger do an audit of the mail-in ballots. I mean, and I guess a lot of the frustration, Senator, is that the representatives that we have on have not, except for Beach, have not really gone that passionate over it. I mean, why can't we do an audit of those envelopes, Senator Payne?
Well, I believe that we should do an audit of those envelopes. I've been saying the same thing. I think many of us, I stand with the Lieutenant Governor and how he's come out and saying, we need to audit those envelopes and those absentee ballots.
You can't be serious, right? I mean, Jeff Duncan, the guy that runs to CNN and MSNBC and defends Raffensperger at every move, now tepidly says, yeah, it's probably a good idea. I mean, do you really think that's the kind of leadership that people want?
Well,
honestly.
But then it goes back to that. Right now we have to be guarding the rule of law, making sure that the law is enforced, regardless of who comes out on top. Mm-hmm. That has to be our objective, is that we're looking at the law and making sure that the election laws of our state are being followed and that we're doing everything that's supposed to be done.
All right, let's get to, thank you, Senator. Let's get to line 1, Adrian in Richmond, Virginia. Adrian, you're live.
Good morning, John. Good morning, Senators. Hate to be the keep on bashing on you folks, but I'm a Texas boy. Grew up in Texas. I live in Virginia now, and I love Virginia. I think it's beautiful, but the politics are horrible. We have no Republican Party. I probably won't be voting for governor because I don't see our candidates, being as strong either. I think from an outside perspective, you guys are not hearing or understanding what these folks are saying. I think you guys have been caught up too much in the politician world. The Democrats are cheating in front of your face. The Democrats are doing things in front of your face, and you guys are not even trying to do the same thing they're doing. You want to play by the rules when they're not playing by the rules. You guys don't understand. The rules have changed. This is warfare, and you guys continue to say, oh, we're going to play by the rules. Why aren't you guys knocking on the governor's door, literally knocking, not hiding behind Twitter or an email and such? I'm not saying you guys are cowards, but you definitely don't have a backbone right now, and that's what it looks like to me, because it's so frustrating that all you do is talk. We're going to send the governor a letter. Our hands are tied behind this law or that law. The Democrats don't care. and we need to start having some respect for ourselves. And I know that's kind of contradicting myself, but have some respect for your people in Georgia and fight back. Sleep at the Capitol if you have to. Show them that you care. But no, it's the holiday season, right? No, we can't do that. It's just ridiculous, John. I'm just like these last two callers. I'm just shameful to be considered a Republican anymore. I think we just need to change our name and be MAGA, because we are not going to vote for you folks. Does Kemp know he's killing the Republican Party? Do you guys even realize that? Republicans are not going to vote for you guys anymore. Y'all need to wake up. I'm
All
sorry,
right,
John.
Adrian,
It's just frustrating hearing these guys, man. They have no fight. None. I'm sorry.
Adrian, thank you. Adrian, thank you. Line one, I'm going to let Representative Casey Carpenter respond to that.
I say this with all due respect. I appreciate your position, but I also get a little frustrated when you're telling me that we're not acting and we're not passionate, and you're standing here telling me I may not even vote in my next election because there's nothing I can do. So don't stand here in Virginia and tell me in Georgia what I should be doing when you're claiming you're not even going to vote because you don't know that the candidates are there. So I understand your frustration, and we're frustrated in Georgia as well. But this is a process, and we may not like the process, but also understand that, as we keep screaming fraud, 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 guess what's going to happen? You're going to push a ton of voters away from not even voting. So this whole scene that we're all living in right now, that nobody's happy with, the bigger we grow, the bigger John grows this scene, the more people are not going to turn out, and it will flip the seat. So you got to be real careful the steps you take in a short election cycle to win these two Senate seats. And like I said, there's two sides to the coin here. There's a process where you guys say fight, 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 but is the more fear and the fear that your vote doesn't count, that you keep pushing, is going to push people away from the polls as well. So you're going to have the same effect that you're trying to avoid on the other side. So I just think you got to be careful.
All right, let's get to line three. Nick in Dalton, Georgia. Nick, we're here at the beautiful Hilton Garden Inn off of I-75. And Nick, I want to give a shout out to the hotel manager, Corey Woodard. Great job, fabulous staff. Their service here, fantastic. Corey, if you ever get a chance, your family comes in, tell them to stay here at the Hilton Garden Inn off I-75. Go ahead, Nick.
Hey, thanks, guys, for allowing me to pose a few questions to you. I'm a hometown guy from the same county you guys are from, so know a couple of you very well. Actually, all three of you. And as a previous caller, this is embarrassing, state of Georgia. I've got two questions, and I would like to pose this one to probably to Chuck. It is beyond imagination that it took an attorney, Lynn Wood, to reveal the corruption that has taken place in this election. My issue is there are apparently issues with this consent decree thing, and it took an outside influence, an outside source to bring that to the citizenry of Georgia's attention. How is it that there was no red flags raised? We elect you guys to protect us from outside influence, and especially from inside influence. We elect you to go on our behalf. My issue is that there was no red flags raised. How is it once again that Mr. Wood revealed that to us? Wouldn't that be the legislature, the House? Wouldn't that be you guys' job is to foresee or just to make sure that we're not being neglected as citizens? Go ahead, Chuck.
Thank you, Nick. Have you read the consent decree?
Yeah, I've read two versions of it, and I've heard different. It depends on who's posing a question or who's answering a question as to how it is applied. What I read is that Kemp, Raffensperger, and Abrams that was done on their desk. It was not put forth to the legislature. Is that correct?
Well, isn't that illegal?
Well, if you read that consent decree, it states in there very clearly that the election laws of Georgia will be followed in regard to verifying signatures.
Right.
And therefore that's in there. And so that means that we have to verify every signature
But
he's on the absentee ballots.
But Senator Payne, he's not done that. I mean, the campaign sent a letter to him yesterday, fifth one, demanding that they audit the signatures on the envelopes. He simply gives everybody the middle finger, gives them the New Jersey salute, says, I'm not going to do it, doesn't care about the decree, doesn't care about what the General Assembly says, doesn't care about anything. Raffensperger says no. Jeff Duncan jogs over to CNN, pats Raffensperger on the head. And then Brian Kemp hides in the basement, and that's the frustration. I mean, you're saying it, but you're not doing it.
Well, that consent decree was done in March. That was,
and you guys were not even aware of it.
Right.
Which is illegal.
Thank you, John. Appreciate
Thank
that.
you, Nick.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a state senator, Payne, Chuck Payne, state Senator Payne. They signed a decree that we just found out about from Lynn Wood that never went to the General Assembly. Brandon Beach got on my show, drove down from Cherokee to Buckhead and said this thing is illegal. We need to sue everybody and throw it out. He said, I never even saw it until I saw the lawsuit. Is that right?
none of us saw it until the lawsuit.
So why aren't you demanding Raffensperger resign?
Because I'm still investigating and going through finding the truth. Because what's on Lynn Woods is not necessarily the truth. That's why we have a court of law. And I come from that background for 30 years. And understanding there's a far difference in an accusation and what's proven in a court of law. And we are now past the politics of an election. And as I said earlier, we are now in the process of a court proceedings. And you've got to let that play out. And have trust in these courts. I mean, even one of the president's choices of a federal judge threw out some of these charges based on that they were baseless. So, I mean, we have to trust the system. Whether you like it or not, we have to trust the system and the legal system and have our day in court so that we can prove this to be true or not true, rather than public opinion. That's what I'm getting at as far as the campaigns are over. Now it's time for politics to step aside and let the legal process move.
So are you at all upset about the fact that the consent decree was not shared with the state Senate or the House of Representatives until it came out in a lawsuit?
Well, if it's just a consent decree to stating that current law will be followed and signatures will be verified, then there's nothing really to bring to the legislature. If you're trying to change the law, then there's something to come to the legislature for.
Well, I'd have to disagree with that a little bit. First of all, I think if we'd elected Josh McCoon as Secretary of State, we wouldn't be in this mess. But that's my personal opinion. Second of all, that decree, if you looked at House Bill 316 that we did back in 2019, the actual election bill, that decree actually changed the way that they went over the absentee ballot or the signatures on the absentee ballots, and from what the actual law was to a new procedure that they were doing, and he does not have the authority to do that. Should we have been notified? Absolutely, we should have been notified. He made the change in a law that nobody except a judge that finds it unconstitutional or us as a legislature is the ones that does that. So I think he overstepped his boundaries way, way too far.
All right, I want to thank Nick and Dalton. Thank you, Nick. I've got a lot of people waiting on hold. We're going to go to a quick word from our sponsors at the bottom of the hour. John Fredericks Radio Network, great to have you. Don't forget, download our free app. I am your Godzilla of the truth in America. We're trucking the truth every day. Your oracle of the deplorables. We're live in Dalton, Georgia, day 2 of our 10 cities and 10-day bus tour. Cartersville tomorrow. We'll go from there. Athens, Monday and Tuesday. That's where the action is. Big General Assembly meeting. We'll be there. Trump coming to Georgia on Saturday. We have our power roundtable here. Representative Casey Carpenter, Representative Jason Ridley, and State Senator Chuck Payne, all Republicans, all representing the Dalton area. We got a lot of people on hold. Let's go to line 4, where we have Suzanne from Dalton. Suzanne and Dalton, you're live. All right, we don't have Suzanne from Dalton. Suzanne, you there? Okay, let's get to line 1, Ray in Texas. Suzanne, we can't get to you, Suzanne. Call back 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646. Let's get to line one. Ray in Texas. Ray, you're live.
We don't have Suzanne from Dalton. Hello, John.
Yes, Ray, you're live.
Hey, thank you very much for taking the call, John. Want you to know that we listen here in Texas to you, almost every morning for the last 5 or 6 days, because it's very, very important that the message that you're sending out. Now, the reason I'm coming to Georgia.
Do me a favor, Ray. Turn down your radio. So I'm
Okay.
getting feedback. All right, thank you. Go ahead, Ray. Go ahead.
There
Ray,
you go.
ahead. Yeah. Okay.
All right. We're on our way to Georgia on December the 8th. We will be on the ground there in Kennesaw. We're bringing a team from Texas, and from actually another team is going to go with us from California, and we're going to be knocking doors and doing the things that we need to do to get those senators involved and get back in office. And it's so important that our republic is at stake here, and we know that. I listened to your callers here, and I know their passion, and I know this is a real, real battle. We're in a war, and we have got to do everything possible that we can do to save our republic. Now, I just wanted to let you know that when we're on the ground in Georgia, we'd like to hook up with you guys and give you a report. I don't know whether your 10-day road trip is going to be involved. At that time, we'll be there from the 8th.
Yeah,
Ray,
look,
to the 12th.
Ray, I'm going to make it easy. I'm going to be here through January the 10th. 10 days, 10 cities in 10 days, but I'm going to be here until January the 10th. Ray, text me. Let me give you my text number now, live over the air. 757-6.
Just a minute,
Right.
John. I'm trying to write it down. Hold on,
757-692-1710.
692-1710.
Thank you.
Okay, 757.
All right.
All right, guys.
From my caller from Ella J calling me on my mobile, call the station 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646. We can't hook you up through my mobile, so 706 area code. Thank you. Just call 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5676, and we'll get you on. Thank you, Ray. Let's get to Ivan in Woodbridge, Virginia. Ivan, you're live. Line 2.
Hey, John, how are you? I want to address the panel and ask them a couple of quick yes or no questions. Do they recognize that this Roethlisberger-Abrams agreement, the one they were not aware of or privy to, is going to secure that the Republicans are going to, U.S. Senate Republican candidates will lose because of this arrangement? Yes or no, gentlemen? You got 3 guests there on the panel. Please let me know. Yes or no? Do you recognize that?
We'll start with Senator Payne.
I don't know. Say that question again.
So because of the arrangement between Abrams and Roethlisberger, if I'm pronouncing his name right, the one that you were not made aware of is going to secure that we will lose the United States Senate. Do you recognize this?
And how is that so?
I think that the elections are scammed and you don't have any kind of security to your voting, and therefore you're going to lose it just like Donald Trump lost it, just as they lost it in this November 3rd election. Maybe you don't see that. So that's why I ask, yes or no.
Well, that's why I ask you how so, because there's a lot of difference. That's the one I'm talking about, that now we're in the investigation mode, and there's a lot of difference between an accusation and an actual something we can prove.
No, this isn't
so that's
an
why I'm
accusation.
asking you, well, you're making a statement that something's corrupt, and I ask you how, and you're not giving me how we're going to lose.
All right, so you're giving me double talk. Did you read 1984? That's double talk from a politician. Thank you, Mr. Payne. I see where you are as a patriot. The other two gentlemen, Please answer my question.
I don't think we're going to lose the Senate seats. The only way we lose the Senate seats is if we don't get turnout.
Really?
I don't think we're going to lose.
They just mailed out 950,000 absentee ballots.
I don't think we're going to lose the Senate
They're going to do the same. We go into January 5th down by 500 or 600 votes on game day. How the hell are you going to make that up?
If Republicans sit on their hand and don't go vote, we're going to lose the Senate race. But if we get out and vote, we will win the Senate race. Purdue won his race.
And how are you going to
Purdue won his race.
How are you going to
Leffler would have won her race
How are you
going to
stop them from stealing it again? I mean, that's the concern.
Yeah, I feel the concern, but that's not what, with the concerns of the race, of the presidential race, Purdue still won. All the votes that we just saw, legal, illegal, whatever, as it fleshes out, Purdue still won and really almost had 50%.
Yeah, but the difference is you got Trump voters, low propensity Trump voters to turn out.
That's what this scene that we're in the middle of. That's what this scene. We got to be real careful. That was my conversation piece.
There's not being careful. What the callers are saying, it's like your constituents. You can think what you want. That's your prerogative, but you got to respond to your constituents. And what our callers in Georgia are saying is, if you guys don't fight, and I came out for my guy. I didn't come out for Purdue. I came out for my guy. My guy got it stolen from him. And your top three leaders, Manny, Mo, and Jack, basically, the three blind mice, don't do anything. And so why should I come out again? I'm not defending it. I'm just the bearer of the news. I'm just bringing you what rural Georgians have been telling me for 3.5 weeks. That's what they're saying.
John,
and I get that.
You guys are not.
I understand your frustration. I get it. I understand your frustration. We're all frustrated about the situation. But just because your team doesn't make the Super Bowl doesn't mean you don't watch the Super Bowl. And so to sit here and say just because we're having these issues in the Trump election, I'm willing to risk the entire America and not go out and vote.
I don't think that's what they're saying.
I mean, that's what you're telling me.
I think. Well, yeah, but.
You're telling me people are not going to show up.
They're not going to show up
because they're frustrated about how the election turned out.
No, because you won't fight. Because the three leaders of your party, three blind mice, are sitting there not fighting for what they think is right. So they're thinking the heck with it. These are not your high propensity voters. The concern I've got is Stacey Abrams just mailed out 1 million ballots. They're going to figure out how to get those back in. They've got more money than ever. All right, Ivan, thank you. Let's get to Peter in Lynchburg, Virginia. Peter, you're live.
Oh, yeah. Hey, John, thanks for taking my call. I wanted to let you know that we're enjoying listening to your show instead of the local station for the last month or so because we get more information than hardly any place else.
Thank you.
I don't particularly have a question for any of your panel, but I just want to mention they can just listen to what I'm saying. Because of its expression of frustration. You had Lynn Wood on a few days ago, and he said that this situation with the election is going to be brought to a head and resolved by not the courts, not the legislature, but by the American people. And I heartily believe in that. And I don't really see that there's any kind of a just because the state legislature, the Republicans are going through the court system, they're trying to let the court system, the system of law, operate. There's no reason that they shouldn't be rallying the right-thinking citizens of the state of Georgia to make their opinions and their presence known to the decision makers. Because if they don't think that having a crowd of 100,000 people around a courthouse when decisions are being made is not going to have an influence on it, they're nuts. Because you can look and see in the blue states when there's riots and things like that, what an effect it has on people. When you have people stand up in front of politicians, elected officials, judges, and say, we want truth, we want justice, and we're going to demand it, and we're not going to walk away without it, you're going to see people pay attention to the law, the letter of the law, and do what logically is right. So I don't understand why, if the consent, according to one of your panelists, the consent agreement said that current law has to be followed. Mm-hmm. And current law, I believe it's been stated that says that signatures on ballots have to be validated. Mm-hmm. If that's true, why are people sleepwalking, waiting? I don't understand. They're just like waiting for the time to run out, and then elections are going to be certified, and then it's done. I think people expect more action. And
Peter, thank you. I get it. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. Let's go to Casey Carpenter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. I agree that we need to be validating the signatures, and we've putting pressure on the Secretary of State. We issued a letter. The speaker's come out. The governor actually suggested that he do it pretty firmly, but it was going nowhere. So I agree. I understand your frustration.
And the Republican caucus in the Senate has also done the same thing.
I mean, at this point, it's in the ball is in the Secretary of State's court, and other than screaming and hollering, which is what I understand you want us to do, that's where we're at. And it's frustrating. I'm with you.
Let's get to Representative Ridley.
Listen, if you're asking, do I think the election was stolen? Absolutely. I think it was stolen. I don't think that I needed, I think there's enough evidence out there that everybody wants to talk about being coincidence to prove that the absentee ballots wasn't checked the way they're supposed to. People wasn't there to verify them. You had a flood in the middle of the night after they quit counting that just happened to go over the machines that count the ballots. I mean, it goes on. And I believe 100% that there is a lot of issues that needs to be fixed. But even Lynn Wood said yesterday on your show, John, that we've got to be patient. We've got to let this thing run in the courts. And, yes, that's where ultimately it's going to be decided at. Do I got a lot of faith in a lot of judges that are probably more left than I'd like them to be? That's a little bit questionable. That's where I get frustrated at, because I think he had enough evidence the other day, even though that was a Trump-appointed judge, for him to do that. But I know a lot of times they'll say no to kick it up to the 11th District Appeals Court, and that's exactly where a lot of things go in politics.
Well, we'll see what happens on Wednesday, right? I mean, that's when his hearing is on.
That's exactly right.
Wednesday. All right, Peter in Lynchburg, thank you. Let's get to line 2. Paul in Mechanicsville, Virginia. You're live. Paul, line 2.
To talk to you. Thank you for what you're doing, and representatives there. My thing is, and one of you gentlemen said that you communicated with your Raffensperger all the time, whatever. But, I heard that he had a meeting with Perkins Coie. Now, I know you know who Perkins Coie is. Mm-hmm. They're owned and operated by the Clintons. And what went on in that meeting? What was promised? Do you know what the minutes of that meeting were? Has anybody asked him what they promised him?
You have any idea?
I have no idea.
Senator Payne?
I have no idea. I've not verified that it was ever such a meeting, so I don't know.
Well, it sounds like the meeting's not verified. I don't know anything about it, but I know that Lynn Wood was upset about it. He said he was going to get to the bottom of it. But
right. But I guess I don't think Lynn's the only one I heard that from. I think one of your other reps earlier in the week or yesterday or so had said that they met with Perkins Coie. And that's the most crooked firm in America, guys. You need to know what went on. If, in fact, a meeting like that took place, you need to know what went on in that meeting.
Yeah, there was a rep that said that. I for the life of me, Paul, right now, I've had so many on my show I can't remember. But there was a Georgia rep that said that. But I'll look into that. Paul in Mechanicsville, thank you. Let's get to line 3, Toby in Dalton, Georgia. Toby, you're live. Line 3.
Yes, I know Casey and Jason fairly well, and I don't know Chuck, but I did email him a few weeks ago and never heard back, which was disappointing. But my question, I got 2 questions. One, I think y'all may have touched on this earlier a little bit, but what do we got to do to get a hearing here in Georgia similar to what Pennsylvania and Arizona have done, to where, the president's team can lay out what proof they have of fraud, so the people of Georgia and the representatives and senators and every governor, whoever, can see these things? What needs to be done to do that? And 2, I think if we can get, my question is, Senator Perdue, I feel like he should be a little bit, more interested in this fraud, because he could get over that 50% threshold if some of these ballots that are illegal were thrown out. So that's my 2 questions.
All right, I'm going to go to Senator Payne, and I want to address the first one. to get a hearing on it would have to be in the Judiciary Committee. Who's your Judiciary Chairman?
The current chairman is Senator Jesse Stone.
Jesse Stone. Now, is he on the way out, or was that someone?
Yes, he did not run for re-election.
All right. So, but he's the chairman now.
He is the current chairman.
So he could call. He has the power to call the hearing for the Senate.
He does have
now.
that power, and I've not spoken.
Why hasn't he done that?
I have not spoken with him to ask him that.
All right, so go ahead and
but I will.
answer
I can
Toby's
follow up
question.
and ask him if that's because I think that the more information we have out there is good. But at the same time, we also have to make sure we're giving factual information and not just innuendos and accusations.
Well, how would you know that until you have the hearing?
Well, that's why I said I would love to have such a hearing, but we need to make sure that we're just getting to the facts and not.
Yeah, but how would you know that you're not getting the facts if you don't have
because
the hearing,
because the same way for the last, and I'll say this for all of us, since the election, I've probably had 10,000 emails, and I'm sorry for the caller that said I haven't returned one, but when you get literally 10,000 emails, they're coming from nationwide. They're not just coming from Georgia with a focus on these 2 Senate races, and so it's very difficult to make sure that I'm going through these and trying to weed out and pick out the ones that are actually from here, and trying to respond to those as quick as I can, but there's going to be some that fall through the hole. But at the end of the day, we got to make sure that we're acting on a factual basis rather than speculation and accusations, and letting that be the evidence that we need. And there's so many that's what I'm getting a lot of times on my phone calls is the accusation is evidence.
Did you think the hearing in Pennsylvania with the Pennsylvania State Senate in Gettysburg, do you think that was factual?
Well,
Senator?
I didn't see it. I didn't watch it because literally I'm on the phone 14 hours a day and returning phone calls from people, and I've had hundreds of phone calls that I take literally every day. I'm on the phone.
Right.
So I'm literally trying to follow up with people the best I can, and we're all just human people just like anybody else, and we've only got 24 hours in our days just as much as anybody else, but we are staying steadfast involved in making sure that we try to get to the truth in this.
All right, we're going to give you the final word, Toby and Dalton. Beautiful.
I agree, but I think there's. I'm sorry.
I said Dalton is a beautiful town. I went to the downtown last evening. Beautiful town.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. And I agree. I understand. You got to have facts. You got to have things that can be backed up in court. I understand that. But I think you also, you got to give them a chance. There hasn't been a chance. You got to let people see, and even if some of it's credible, that's better than what we have right now. I mean, we're only talking about 12,000 votes for the presidential election, and then even closer to that for Purdue. So I just don't understand. Obviously you can tell voters in Georgia are fired up, the Republican side. And I just, I think we could do more. There's definitely more that can be done. I think we need to do everything we can. And I think that's why people are mad,
Well, I will just tell you, Toby, I will send an email today requesting Senator Stone to call such a hearing in the judiciary.
Thank you. All right, Toby, thank you for that inspiring call. Let's get to line 2. Ken in Richmond, Virginia. Ken, you're live, line 2. Go ahead. Ken, you're live. All right, we don't have Ken. Let's get to Christine from Washington, D.C. Christine, line 3, you're live.
Hi, John. I just wanted to comment on the last caller, and I am from, spent 30 years in Arizona and have done political there. He's kind of got it backwards. The reason we're having hearings in Pennsylvania and in Arizona specifically is to try to get a hand audit done and to get a court case. You guys already have the audits and recounts going on in Georgia. So, you need a court case now based on the audit results. And I just kind of wanted to, kind of clarify that. We're doing this to try to force somebody to do an audit of the 10,000, the data.
That was in Arizona.
And the hearing we had, it was a meeting. It wasn't a legislative hearing.
But Christine, what they don't have in Georgia is they haven't pressured the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, sufficiently enough where he will allow a audit of the signatures on the envelope. So maybe you do a hearing to force him into that. That's why Beach wanted a special session. He's like, yeah, I don't think we're going to change anything. But he said, I'm going to get in front of a microphone and a podium every day with 10 other state senators demanding that our Secretary of State audit these ballots. And I'm going to demand it every day until finally CNN or somebody has to carry it and he has to respond and tell me why. That's what Senator
we're running
Beach
out of
said,
time.
and I think Beach is spot on.
Well, the senators can call for an audit. The legislators, I believe, can call for an audit. The governor can call for an audit. The state,
anybody can call for an audit, right? But if Raffensperger doesn't do the audit, there's no audit because he's got the power. He got like the Secretary of State. So Senator Beach's position is you bring pressure on Raffensperger by your party in a special session demanding an audit every day, have a hearing, bring in people who said they saw fraud, and then you put that, you exert that pressure on the Secretary of State. That's what Senator Beach's position is, and I think it's somewhat valid. All right, I don't think we've got any more time for any more callers. I want to thank everybody for calling today. Let me just read one text. I got 100 of them. I'm going to read one from Thomas in LJ who says, patience with the courts and patience with politicians are separate. We are impatient with the politicians, especially the people on this panel. Thomas and LJ, thank you for that. So guys, I think you've got the message. I want to thank my panel for being with us and spending the day with us here. Senator Chuck Payne, Senator, thank you for being with us.
Good to be here.
I know it isn't always easy when callers are a little animated, if you will. I want to thank Representative Casey Carpenter from Dalton and Representative Jason Ridley. Gentlemen, thank you.